Today is Friday, February 8th, 2019. We're interviewing Dr. Qinghua Kiang for the Houston Asian American Archive in her office on Rice University campus. My name is Priscilla Lee.
And I'm Amber Liu.
Okay, so the first question is, where were you born?
I was born in Taipei, Taiwan, and it was a big city. Now it's a lot of people. But it was very different when I was born.
Okay.
Yes.
What kinds of foods did you grow up eating?
Chinese food, mostly, and my mother's a very good cook, so we eat a variety of things. Sometimes from different cuisine, but mostly Chinese.
Okay. Is it a specific cultural food from a province in China?
Because we live in Taiwan, there's a lot of influence of Taiwanese food, but it's probably most of food from the south, like China, like Fujian, perhaps some Cantonese. Occasionally we eat food like from the north, focusing on like dumplings, noodles, pretty much all over. But we'll have some proportion of Taiwanese influence.
Did you ever have to help your mom out in cooking?
Not too much. My mother is very good, and also we have helpers to help us. Yes.
What kinds of cultural traditions did you celebrate?
Chinese, of course, the most important is the Chinese New Year, and so other big festivals like Mid-Autumn Festival and the Dragon Boat Race. So these are the big ones, and also other smaller ones. Pretty much throughout the year, mostly associated with some food. Okay. Certain festival we eat some food.
What school did you go to for elementary school?
I went to Dongmen Elementary School. It's a pretty big school. We have a lot of students. I just remember lots of classroom with a big stadium in the middle, and then we'll run around.
And then middle and high school? So
these are the schools in Taipei. Middle school is Ren'ai Middle School. High school is Taipei First Girls High School. So at the high school level is some schools, so separate boys and girls. So this is all girls high school.
And did you have to test into high school?
So from middle to high school, yes. So Taipei has a test. So if people want to come to high schools in Taipei, needs to take the exam for Taipei high schools. And then we pretty much rank from the first to last, and the first get to choose first. So you fill out the first choice, second, and third. Yes.
And did you have a favorite subject or teacher?
At school, I like chemistry and physics. Math, maybe. I think physics is probably my favorite subject. But a chemistry teacher is a very old lady. She's very somewhat entertaining, but she's also inspirational.
In what way?
Well, she liked to say something and say yes or no, and then make us to think about the problem instead of just telling us all the right thing and the wrong things. And also, she was relatively old, but she seemed like, and she was very small. And she was when she was standing or possibly sitting at the podium, we could barely see her. like her head above the table, but she was full of energy. So it was just fun to go to her class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what drew you to physics? Like in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
you said you enjoyed physics.
Yes, just the subject and the problems are very interesting, and also the teacher was it looks just like a very good scholar. The way he taught us and the way he presented the problem make us feel that physics is very serious and very somewhat mysterious, but it's a lot of truth going on there and a lot of insight we can look into. It's telling us the secret of the world, the universe. I think.
Did your parents like have a science background, or you just?
My father was a chemical engineer, but he passed away when I was little. So it was not so much from their day-to-day influence. I think that's just perhaps at school, somehow I liked that better than others, maybe just because I was not very good at memorizing all the history and all the things that requires a lot of memorization, and I decided to go into science.
And what was like the atmosphere like at Taipei, the high school that you went to?
The high school, it was fun. It's all girls. We can do a lot of girl things. And specific in high school, I joined the marching band. And that was, it requires a lot of work. It needs to be dedicated. And to some extent, we didn't really have a choice. And at that time, the band was actually picked by the school teacher, like the top 35% people just have to go, and then we're assigned an instrument. And so, but that was a big deal in our high school. We have to eventually. So we have 3 years in high school. The second year, we joined the band, and the third year, a smaller group of the band form a wing ensemble. So we practice a lot every day, and we were able to skip some classes. The classes deemed not considered not very not so critical. For example, PE sometimes, and then we can go practice at that time. So we spend a lot of time, and then with our friends and together, and then going through a lot of things. So it was fun. And then obviously we have our band. We have a competition, and we always won the first with the high school, at least in Taipei. So it was fun.
What instrument did you play?
I play cornet, so it's a trumpet. So it's like a first trumpet. So and I was basically the soloist trumpet, and every year we play different musical pieces. So it depends on the composition of the band. And my year, because I was particularly good, so we play the music we play has some solo for me, and then very often it's focusing on the trumpet. So it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of responsibility for me, because if I didn't perform well, then the whole thing sounds awful. But then because I have a cornet, it's actually a different color and slightly different shape of a trumpet, so people recognize me with that. It's a little bit more orangish than the yellowish. So yeah.
How did you balance like schoolwork and practicing?
I think for a while I didn't really focusing too much on the schoolwork, practicing a lot. But I think the schoolwork wasn't too intense until we go to the very last year, the third year, right before college. So I think I was doing okay, and still the top. But I think after, so it's like a couple months before the college entrance exam. At that time, the band thing was all over, the wing ensembles with no more practice, and then we focus on the studying for the test. So we did it all day with my friends, because at that time there was just one college entrance exam, so it doesn't matter what you do, the whole school year and the grades doesn't matter. Just that one test that it determines everything. So I think probably in June or July. Yeah, so 2 days test.
Mm-hmm. And it covers most, like, a broad range of subjects.
Right, I think it's 6 subjects. So math, physics, chemistry. So depending on, and there are 4 categories. So if you choose the science, so it's math, physics, chemistry, and then I think English and Chinese and some kind of political thing. Right.
So how was like applying to college like?
Right. So that, as I said, it was very stressful. So 2 days. You better not be sick in those 2 days, and you just have to prepare everything, and just for that. Mm-hmm. So I guess in between this, a lot of studies, but I guess it's not every day you will know any feedback and see something, but you just have that one goal. You have to get everything out in those 2 days. Mm-hmm. Right.
So how was the process of applying to college?
So for us, we just I think we register, and then once the exam is over, we ranked from first to last, and of course the first one, we fill out the form to have your first choice, second choice, or third choice. So if you're number 1, you got to choose first, and then from there, right? So if you're number 1,000, and then some school or actually department it's already full, then you can choose. You don't get your first or second choice. You get to whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So but for us, one thing is we actually have to choose the department, basically major, at that time. That was a little bit difficult because it's hard for us to know the differences, especially we have in high school we just learn physics and chemistry, and in college of engineering versus science. Nobody even knows what the difference is. So very often we just look at the previous score. So what's the lowest score you need to get into this department, and they will have a list. Very often we just copy that list with a little bit adjustment with our own interest. So yeah, so usually we don't know what we get into until we get to school, and then the things that once you get to school, it's very difficult to change, and it's not too common. So if you switch major, you have a brand new class you need to get in, and then they already know each other. Mm-hmm. So it's better to choose wisely beforehand.
Okay. So what were your choices that you chose?
Right. So I at that time I chose engineering, mm-hmm. But I think for us we could study different things. We do have requirements we need to fulfill, but in the end, I studied things. I took classes from different disciplines. So that actually allows me, when I applied for graduate school, that was a little bit better.
Oh, okay. So what college did you end up choosing?
Right. So I went to Caltech, and I was, I guess myself was a little bit surprised. I didn't expect to get in because we haven't have people to get in like several years before me. I didn't know anybody who got in, but then there I was, and I decided to go. Um, so I really didn't know much what I was getting into. So my friend told me I was pretty brave, but she said even she got in, she wouldn't go. It was just seemed too intimidating, I would say.
So can I ask you about your immigration, like coming to the U.S.?
What about that?
Like how you felt?
So I came to school for graduate school directly. So I went to the PhD program at Caltech, and so that's how I got it here. Basically, got a ticket and packed my belongings. Here I am, and it was a little bit different because the schools were very small. We didn't have a big Chinese Student Association, mostly like a Taiwanese. It was the association is separate with people from Taiwan and people from mainland China. So from Taiwan, I think we only have about 10 total. So we didn't have a major operation who pick up who and then help who. And just so we got there. I got there on my own, and eventually get to know some of them. But there were so few, and each one, I think several of them have a family already, so they didn't really have much time to join these student associations. So we were kind of. In our year, we have quite a few, and so we would kind of get together and help each other. But we're all new.
Okay. What surprised you about the U.S. when you came?
Surprised me.
I guess you can name like one of your first encounters, like something memorable when you first came here.
I'm not sure. I don't know if there's like one incident of things. I think even though I learned English and then tried to have like practice a conversation and then listening comprehension, still trying to understand people is not so totally easy, not everything. And so trying to watch TV, trying to learn something. I think one thing is surprise. I think if we watch local news, they're talking about things very local, like something happened on the street, a cat was like stuck on a tree, and then. But I think before when we read news, probably is also like cable news is talking about like the whole country or the whole world. So it's a little bit different versus it's just this town you're in. So if we didn't know enough, it's not sure what's going on. And also, I think people talk about, I remember someone told me like the two things people like to talk about, and it's hard for us to understand. One is driving, and because I think the U.S. is very big, a lot of people driving is different. Like driving in a small city is busy city is very different from driving a long distance across the country. And another thing is the politics. So first we don't really understand the system, and then who's fighting what, and also we don't. I didn't recognize the names, so it's hard to follow why this person talk about what and who, and then represent what. Yeah.
Okay. And what was it like? What was your lab like? I guess like the demographics. Were there mostly men in your lab at Caltech?
Right. Mostly, I think the group where I was in, I think there's another girl, I think out of maybe 6 people, or 7, I don't quite remember. There were a few, but it certainly were the minority. But I was used to that. I was in science, engineering. We always is minority, not so isolated that was the only one. I've heard some department it's like one, but we only have a few. Therefore, the girls are closer together because it's a small group. Yeah.
Okay. Amber, did you have any questions?
Yeah, so what kind of work did you do in the lab? What subject did you study and what research questions were you working on?
At school or
in Caltech?
yes, I study a few different things, but eventually, what got me most interested was actually I went to doing the visiting as a visiting science and doing research at IBM, Almaden Research Center up in the north, the Bay Area. And so my thesis is mostly about that. So it was very interesting because we were starting, at that time we were trying to make metal encapsulated fullerenes. There was some history there, but anyway, eventually we discovered single wall carbon nanotubes. So that was a very interesting story, and it was unexpected because that was the time IBM was experiencing a hard time, so they have a new CEO, and they say everybody now go to do disks and heads. So it's something useful for the IBM business. At that time, it's mainly in the computer and hard drive and all kind of thing. And then, but we're in the physics division trying to do fundamental science, and my mentor, Don Bethune, who's a great mentor for me, he was working on fullerenes already, which was the so C60, it's a 60 carbon formed soccer ball. That was kind of new at that time, but this one eventually was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1996, actually, to Rick Smalley here at Rice, and in the Bob Curl and I think Harry. So the three of them. But anyway, at that time we were thinking if we have C60 and then also C70 and then have a different basic cage-like structure. Maybe we put magnetic metal could make the smallest head. So actually discs we can put on the disc, the smallest unit. And so we add cobalt, iron, nickel to try these magnetic elements. And then so in the case, especially cobalt for us, and later on people found all others. And I would say probably instead of making metal encapsulated in the cage, the metal became a catalyst. So that was kind of unexpected finding, and then the catalyze these single wall carbon nanotubes. So we grow uniform, just single wall carbon nanotubes, very long and thin. So at that time, the fullerene was discovered, and then multi-wall carbon nanotubes was discovered. Without going into the details, and then that was a big deal. And then, but we saw these long things. We were not sure what it was, and then could that be carbon nanotube, but they don't look the same as the multi-wall. But eventually we characterize it enough. We know it's a single wall carbon nanotubes, and IBM to file a patent. And then I think because a patent, there was a little delay, and we submitted a paper, and then there was another one was similar. So I think Nature got us a review right away, and eventually published it back to back with the other paper. So that was pretty exciting. It was like, if we're one day late, we may not be able to make it. So that was a very interesting time at IBM, and there were a different line of managers. They were very supportive of these basic research, and they're very excited about these. And then so that came out, and then we'll have a lot of press coverage. I think at New York Times and Washington Post and several things, and eventually we got a patent. And then at that time, people didn't know what it was, and we actually got the materials patent. And so anyway, but that was a long time ago. I think that the patent now is already over 20 years. So, but anyway, it was a very different time, and then the discovery. It made my research focus more on the nanotubes than originally I thought it was going to be on the fullerenes, the carbon cages. We did have something eventually encapsulate some metal into different cages, but then this project took off, and eventually my thesis is mostly about this. That was a very exciting time.
How did you get into academia? Like, what drove your career path?
So after my PhD on this, and that was pretty much the beginning of the nano research. I think perhaps nanotechnology, but I'm not even sure this word was being used. And actually, in fact, at that time, when I talked to people, some people asked, do you think nano is going to sustain, or this is just going to be something and then it'll go away in a few years? Now we see the nano is everywhere, and then even some department changed the names, include the nano. But at that time, I just saw this new and interesting. I was just hoping to do more new and interesting things. And so the best place for me to do that is to continue to do some postdoc, and then have postdoc training. So I did a year postdoc at MIT. And then somehow, because the things I did was somewhat academic, then I just applied to a professorship. I mean, I think maybe I did look at some companies, but usually I didn't really go into interview any companies, but I'd probably look at the campus recruiting, talk to people a little bit, but mostly just research. So I think I was thinking about doing research. It's like a continuation of the graduate studies. And I'm not sure I absolutely have to do that, but eventually I got a job, and then I just continued to do it. That's what happened.
So you mentioned your mentor, I believe was he at IBM?
Yes, I think the one. I have several mentors in my career. Of course, at Caltech, I have my thesis advisor. Bill Goddard, he's a theorist, and then but my my research is mostly in experiments. So that's the majority of my accomplishment. So Don Bethune at IBM, he's great, and then so we work out pretty well, and I was able to do things. Those are brand new things for me, and to start learning there, and then get result.
And so your first job was it here at Rice?
Right, first real job is here in the physics department. That's where I am now, and that was a really exciting time. So nano was kind of new, and then did some nano, and also in physics. That was the time people like to do bio, so I also try some biological physics. So I kind of like to do new things, and I don't want to work on the same topic over and over for too long. So I feel I know how to do nano, and I want to see if biological physics where it's going. So I try different things. So it was pretty exciting. So now I started here and doing single molecule, now doing, and then after a few years now moving on to single cell biological physics.
So can you tell us a little bit about single molecule and single cell? Like, what was the field like when you came in to it, and what are the fields like now?
Right, so a single molecule, when I started, that was basically, as an experimental biological physicist, that was like one of the hottest topics. It still kind of is, but it's not, like that time it's almost, that's what you need to do if you're going to be doing that. And then because that's, for biological things, so physics would like to go to things the smallest possible, to isolate everything. And biological, that's pretty much the smallest unit. If you break down even smaller, then they're all different. So single molecule, and then we're not focusing on the reactions, and we want to focus on their like physics. So we're looking at the force, energy, and stretching them. And then, so there was a growing field, and then a lot of groups were doing it, and then eventually, it was very popular, and I think so. A few years ago, the chemistry Nobel Prize award to some single molecule. It's not the type of single molecule I'm doing, but I think this last year, 2018, the physics Nobel Prize, we just give to the single molecule, basically the force spectroscopy, the type of things I think is like the most exciting, and now it's something would tell us something about the physics of the biological system. And then and then the field is moving, and also, I mean, it's still single molecules still very active, and then but then like the in between molecules and cells. So now moving on to single cells, and now people doing it, and then the people doing imaging that in the cells, on the cells, and then we're working on the force in the cell. So I think that's the future.
What did you think about Houston when you first came?
So I came from California. So Houston to us, I think one thing is people talk about traffic, and then they say, oh, this area, and sometimes there's some traffic. So we think, okay, if we call this traffic, obviously it's not too bad compared to California. Then like in the Los Angeles area, every day, everywhere is all traffic. So, but I think the traffic has changed in over the last 10, 15 years in Houston. It's some, but still not too bad. It's still tolerable. And things are kind of convenient. Houston, the greater Houston area is big, but just within the Rice and downtown, there are a lot of things like the zoos and museum you can go to easily without spending too much time on the traffic. So, and they're not the biggest, but given the time to travel, it's easy to have like a short trip, and you see it's actually more doable than some big thing some distance away. So this daily life is kind of easy, and then anywhere want to shop and or go restaurant or reasonably easy in terms of traffic, not taking too long, and then different type of cuisine you can pretty much get here mostly.
When you were applying to Rice, what did you like about the school that made you come?
The campus, of course, is beautiful, and also I think the department it's I'm in, and then also the feel, and then the way people interact made me feel really comfortable, and people just once we're here, we're colleagues are friendly. I think in general, physics is like that. It's like within ourselves, we're not like it's reasonably collegial, right? So whether it's the same field or different field, we're just trying to solve things together and make things work better. So, and then I think the school is relatively small and close, so it's not a huge gap if you want to go out with meet with people outside the department, and distance wise, and also like the size wise. And I think because it's the size, every department's not huge, and then that make us it's easier, and also somehow required to interact with people from different departments, which in my field, doing biological physics, is good. And also the medical center is big resources. I like to collaborate with people in the medical center working on medical related physics, and that's very convenient, and it's very important. Both because the size and also locations are pretty close. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about collaborating as an academic? Like, how do you decide on a research question together? How do you reach out to other people?
I think sometimes it's by chance. Sometimes we just talk about something, and then people say, "Well, you want to try?" And I think in my case, very often is it does not, when I do single molecule or single cell, it doesn't not cost a lot to just try it. So often we'll just take a look at it, and then if it turned out something looks interesting, then we'll keep working on it, and then it's a paper or working on the proposals together, and then different things. Sometimes we get to know people. We go to seminars, either they hear my talk or I hear them talk, and then we talk about something, and then go from there.
So can you tell us a little bit about your lab here at Rice? About, you don't have to talk about like specifics, but like about mentoring grad students and such.
So I use atomic force microscopes to do single molecules. So we have one instrument in the basement because we need a very stable the ground without too much vibration, at least. And so, and the lab needs to be clean and neat. Graduate student, I think most of my graduate students, I'm pretty much all, I guess except for one, they're all physics students, because it's just the type of things we do is really research oriented, not so much apply. And so we need to think about some new problems. So that actually make it required for me and to actually work with the student like we have to spend a lot of time with each student because usually our project is not like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to measure that. Usually we say, okay, we want to see if we can do this, and we'll see if we can understand this. So first we need to do some test experiment or some design, some experiment, see if this will work. And so we're guessing is we have to figure out what it means. So that's probably the hardest part. And then usually we won't have the whole set of data before we know. So we see some kind of initial things and say, okay, what could this tell us? If this is what it's going to tell us, what kind of data do we need to confirm it? So that requires a lot thinking. So me and my students, I don't have something set. Okay, you can just study this. We'll tell you that. Usually we'll have to say, okay, this is where we try. We look for something. So I can tell them to look for something to get some idea. But I think this is kind of abstract for the students. So especially in the beginning of the project, it requires a lot of guidance there. That's why I work with the student very closely. And we just don't have experiment you can just keep going and repeat a lot of times without sit down and then looking into where does this project go. Do we want to keep doing this? Is it going to tell us something interesting? But very often, so in my training with the student, I think one thing that's important is they need to do the process exactly correctly, because very often whatever we measure is new. We don't know what the result is going to be. So and then we're going to come up with a story based on the result. So I have to make sure the way they're doing it is actually correct. So we usually have to repeat many times. So that's I'm pretty sure some labs need to do that, but for us it's especially important. And then we have to check, do we actually get it right? So sometimes we actually need to design an experiment just to make sure what we got and we think it is correct. Right.
So I also know that you teach some undergraduate classes here at Rice. So are there some differences between teaching undergrads and graduate students?
Yes, it's different. I teach introductory biological physics for undergraduate, and then biological physics for graduate level. It's similar, though, in principles, for both for people who are going to be in the field and also for people outside the field want to see what that's about. But I think the undergraduate and graduate, the focus are a little bit different. And so for undergraduate course, actually recently I was just invited to give a talk in the AAPT, the Association for Physics Teachers, talking about the class I'm teaching biological physics. So biological physics is a relatively new field, and so when I started teaching about 15 years ago, I couldn't find a good textbook for that. Now we have some textbooks, but it's not necessarily suitable for every class, because biological physics is not really well defined, even in terms of the topic and the things we teach. So some are good, but it's not necessarily what the student want at Rice. There is something they would like me to cover. So I kind of developed my the class. In the beginning, I adopt some texts, but some of the students the textbooks are okay. Just the topics may not cover all the topics I want to cover. So now I put the topics together myself. And I think I learned that you can teach students all these things, but bio is a little bit different. If they want to learn a lot of basic bio, there are different bio courses, right? So biological physics, in principle, we need to focus on something slightly different. But since the student could be coming from all different disciplines, some people don't have bio background, we still need to teach them the basics. So I have to spend some time teaching the basic, the building blocks of bio. And then, so I'm trying to make them think, both in terms of principles and what do we want to think in biological physics that people probably don't worry too much when they just learn biology or biochemistry. And then, because I think just I have some experience, people, because the bio topic is so diverse and people learn that and then they forget. So it's not like some physics subject you get from more elementary to more advanced, eventually get into more detailed. But this is the topic's kind of separate. Now we talk about this next chapter, let's talk about something else. So if they don't remember, and then it's hard for them to remember if you just learn one chapter and then the next one and go to the next one. So now I'm trying to make them think the principle. And then I think a lot of things that, since this feels new, a lot of discovery are being made. I like to let them think about and learn how were the discovery made before in history, some major things, the discovery of the structure of the DNA, and like the invention of a certain technique, like the single molecule technique, what they want to do, exactly what that's good for. And then when they discover these things, so why wasn't it discovered before? Was at that time, was the time, what's so special with the timing? Was that a technique or just something special they thought of? Or perhaps there's something available at that time? So for them, and then like them to think about if they would do it, what would they, how are they doing it, and what kind of advantage they have, right? Because what the discovery is based on what they already know, and then learn something new. So I hope to teach the student learn how to learn new things, and also know their own advantage, what they're best at, and to use that to their advantage to make discovery. And for graduate level, the concept is similar, but usually we have people from different disciplines, like high energy physics or astronomy, and they want to learn something about bio. So for graduate level course, I can teach a little bit more into like the research type. Also talk about some topics. It's a little bit like what people discover. So if the background is like condensed matter particle physics, maybe they have some kind of background, they know something about bio. See if we can relate that problem to the problem they already know. If they solve their problem, think of the problem this way, and how do they look at this biological problem.
So overall, what is your favorite thing about being in academia? What do you value most about this field, I guess?
I think it's the freedom, I would say. We just need to have, we need to have student and funding to do these, but relatively speaking, we have freedom to choose the topic and how much we want to get into that, and to what extent I want to understand this. And then I think, and also we get to talk with different people. Have if people in our field will have we'll have a discussion about like what this technique is good for, and then what about the details of the improvement, and then talking to people from a different discipline, what type of problem we can solve with what we measure. So, for example, if we talk to people from medical school, they will tell us what kind of things they would like to know, the answers, and we would think about what our technique can possibly measure that's related to that. Not necessarily because we're doing fundamental research. We're not going to say, oh, this is going to tell you exactly what this patient is what, but we can tell them some basic things about the things they have questions about, and they can think about how to interpret it in terms of medical use and then patient wise, that type of things. So that's interesting on learning something from various different systems, what kind of things they're worrying about, and then just for us just be creative. We can only measure certain fundamental properties. How do we measure something that can tell us something that we can link that to what people want to know? It's not always straightforward, and sometimes it's not even obvious when we start. And but in the end, once we have the result, then we say, "Oh, that's what it means," and then we put it together. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've ever been treated differently, either because of your gender or your race, in the physics field?
I don't really feel that way. Perhaps I'm not particularly paying attention to that, so I don't really know. I think everybody is different, and everybody's treated differently to some extent. And I guess my gender is different, and my race, and also I'm just different. So I don't see, we don't have enough that I would see a trend or anything. And I feel in general because they know the female is a minority, and in our department, as most engineering department, they do at least try to treat us more kind. I would say, if anything, but usually I actually don't really feel the difference. Right.
Are you involved in the Houston Asian American community?
Houston Asian community. I'm the advisor for the RISE Taiwanese Student Association. So this the group of people from Taiwan, and I think I'm with there's a Houston Chinese Faculty Association.
Yes.
So and also I'm in some alumni associations. Usually we'll try to get together and to help young people. So they have these association will try to organize things, especially like for young people, like career things or something. If I can advise some of the students, I'll try to. And then if we have a chance to get together, and then I'll happy to offer my advice. Usually they have questions about, I think since they're already here, they already know how to apply. But usually it's the next step. How do they get the next job or something? Like, their career planning, and I'll offer my advice when I can.
So what is usually your advice for these students?
Well, I think it depends on the people and then they want to do, but usually the first thing is to try. I remember some student say, "Oh, they can't find a job." I said, "If you send out a resume before you send out 100 resumes, don't ask me anything. You haven't sent out 100, then it's not surprise you haven't got a job yet. After you send out 100, you haven't got a job, got an interview or got a job, then we can talk about it." So the first thing you just need to try. You can't wait until the very last minute and then say, "Okay, I'm gonna get one." I mean, you probably can get some the jobs, but it just may not be the job you want. If you want one, you of your choice, your dream job, you just need to spend a lot of effort. I mean, there are so many people looking for jobs. Yes, there are also a lot of jobs, but maybe you're good, but how do they know you're good? It's not that easy. So sometimes it also by chance. So you just have to try a lot, and also. I think if they're still in the time of preparation, I would say the evidence is important. Like you can say, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that, you know this, you know that." They don't know. It's just like when we read something, I have read people say, "I can do all these," and they actually come and they can't do any of those. So you have to have evidence. And the best evidence is if you're a graduate student, your paper, peer review paper. And then most of the time I told them, what you learn at school is most likely it's not going to be something you can be used for your job. Even in academics, I don't do the same thing as I did when I was a graduate student, but it's the method, like how to find a problem, how to solve the problem. What do you do to try to solve this problem? This process is important. So if you have a paper, you have something, it's evidence, like you can do it, that's something you can show people. I think that should make a difference in terms of looking for jobs. Not so much about this, they need to know you know how to do this in your paper, but you're able to have a paper. And of course, they also know what journals and what papers are better than others. So if you're able to accomplish something big, then that's a good selling point for you, versus you can say 2-3 pages of a lot of things that may or may not matter at all. So when then they write their CV, they need to limit the pages, and then they should talk about important things, not so much about everything you've done. If really it doesn't tell people one way or another you're going to be suitable for the jobs or not. And also the personal statement. And yes, you can talk about your own stories, but make sure whatever the stories you talk about has something to do with why you're suitable for this position, the school, if you want to go to the graduate school or math school, or the job, why you're suitable for this job. Eventually needs to lead into that, not just like chatting about your background so much.
Have you gone back to Taiwan?
Yes, I have. I think when I was in graduate school, I didn't go back for a long time. I think I went back first year, after a year, because the first year was kind of tough. After a year, I did go back once, and then I didn't have time or the energy to go back until I finished graduate school. So that was several years. And then in between that, I went back every few years. I went back, not too often. But now, the summer, I try to go back to see my mother. If I can do that once a year. They don't go back too often, but my mother is 80 years old. She's still good, but I would like to spend some time with her and then let the kids to see her and their grandmother. But it's a little bit difficult. So just Chinese New Year, just the last few days, I think since I came to the U.S., I have not been back for Chinese New Year ever. So it's like 30 years, right? So because every year this time, the school is still in session, and so unless on sabbatical or it just happens to be there's a conference, but because the Chinese New Year, everything is off. There's no conference at that time in Taiwan anyway. And actually, I don't really go to the conference there, so I only go during the break, and then Chinese New Year's. It's not a break here, therefore it's just I just have not had the time and the chance to do that. So maybe if I happen to be have a break this time, I don't know. Yeah, so I think that's one thing. That's the cultural difference. And then when there's the break there, it's not a break here, right? And then so celebration, there's some celebration here. It's not the same because there's no break, right? It's in the middle of a busy week. So sometimes I think we have local celebration the weekend prior to that or after. It's because Chinese actually celebrate starting the New Year and celebrations after the New Year's. Versus I think here, like for example, Christmas, a lot of events are like before Christmas, and then Christmas that day was like the last thing. But in Chinese New Year, I mean, before there were a few things, but usually starts that day, and then some like festival things, like right, some fair or some performances afterwards. But because it's not there's not a holiday unless I think it falls on the Saturday or Sunday. It's just a little bit difficult, so you don't really see much. Perhaps I think Houston we do have. I think we don't have a formal Chinatown, but there's some streets like more Chinese things, so-called Chinatown. Maybe there's some, but I don't think there's a lot. But I think before that, the supermarket and some stores will be selling those things, and I think that's about it, right?
So you said you have children?
Yes, I have 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl. One's in middle school now, one's in high school. So yeah, it is some balance between work and life, right? I don't want to miss the things they have at school too much, but I really can't volunteer too much at the school during the day. I mean, I can't volunteer in the school anytime at all. So, sometimes I just have to rely on other parents telling me what kind of things the PTO do. But I try to do most of the after school activities, and I like them to have do more sports. So we'll arrange them and I encourage them to do that, and then I'll try to be like there and then watch them, right?
So do you speak Taiwanese at home?
I speak Chinese, but not so much with my kids because they don't know enough. So if I speak, they can just say they don't understand, which I think is to some extent is true. So I think when they were really little, they spoke Chinese, but then once they get out, going to daycare and then school, they forgot that. So only one I spoke Chinese with at home is my dog, because I spoke enough Chinese with him, and he knows some Chinese words. Also, I think he could decide if he want to listen or not. Anyway, right? So it's not so much. Whatever I say, he needs to have an action anyway. So it's okay.
What would you consider your greatest accomplishment so far?
I think research-wise is the single-wall carbon nanotubes. I think it's certainly a big thing, and it's very interesting. So I think research-wise, I feel, because I did that early on, I feel like, okay, that was already a big thing. If I want to do that, I already have it. I think so. Right now, the things I'm doing, I try to do something interesting. I'm not looking to something that's like building the big enterprise. So I have the freedom to do something I think is interesting. It may turn out to be big. It may not, but I'm not so worried about the end result and how people see it. I just look at it. I think this is interesting. That's what I want to do. To some extent, that's what happened in the single-wall carbon nanotubes. We didn't plan for that. I see actually something we planned didn't actually happen, but this thing that came out this way, it turned out to be bigger than what we planned and more interesting. So we'll just let the discovery happen, and because if we plan something, that wouldn't be a discovery. Like, right, we say, oh, we're going to make this. That means it's already no. So we'll just I think that actually allows me to have a freedom now to say, okay, I'm just going to see what I can see with this, or if I can design something, see if I can do something. I think that's a little bit why I can do things. I think it's interesting without having too much pressure to say, okay, it has to become a certain way.
Did you have any questions?
So like, well, I guess not really.
Yes. Do you have any like hobbies right now? Besides interests?
I think my own hobby, I'm not so sure. I think before in the college, I have something every time I did something, joined the club. I did some dance, but that was interesting at that time. I don't do it a lot now. And right now, perhaps it's something I did because my kids are doing it, tennis. Not so much a hobby or anything, and we just play with them. So because I have to take them to practice, and then also practice it, and that will be my exercise. And then so I understand the rules, and then get to see something. Yeah. So. I think that's about it. I think in between work and kids and then everything, that's pretty much the only time and opportunity I have right now. Maybe when they're older, when they're going to college, and I can think about something, maybe I have a hobby. Maybe I'll figure out at that time.
So how have you seen like the Asian community change in Houston?
I think we have more people for sure in the last like 10 years. I think the city grew tremendously in a huge amount, but I think the Asian community, I think judging by the restaurant, the Chinese, to some extent I said the things you want to eat in Taiwan, you can find it here, and the things you cannot, you can find it here too. It's like a variety of things. The things Taiwanese thing, but then we have Cantonese and Hong Kong, and then the Beijing kind of things. So, and then the Japanese, the Koreans. right? And then of course we have the West and the Italian America. So we have more things here, and they're reasonably good quality. It may not be very best, the highest, but I mean, even in Taiwan, we don't have a chance to go to the very best all the time. So that's day-to-day life. It's it's comparable. And the things you want to buy, they're all kind of I think they're all kind of small things, and it's relatively convenient. And then pretty much you could buy and eat everything. I think. And then there is some like festivals and all those, and then we have some kind of I think Rice has this child center for Asian studies, and then we have some events. I always see that, and then I have colleagues at the music. Shepherd School Music here, and then they have a lot of events, and then some are like Asian things. So we kind of have quite some activities here, and I think we have a reasonably big population here. And my daughter's going to an international school, and she's learning Chinese there. I think that's one of the reasons I want to send her to that school. And then they have, so the Chinese New Year's, they have a lot of activities. I think some of the parents really spend a lot of time and energy. So at least you should get to experience that, and even join some kind of performance and some celebration there. Yeah.
Did you have any last questions? I think that's all the questions we had today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think it's good. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad to share my experience, and I hope the people who come here and then will have some resource and help, and then for them to get started, and that'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.